Hi, and welcome to the Landis Look, where we take an inside look at the world of real estate. And today I'm here with Emily to take an inside look at her home renovation. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you. Very excited to talk homes.
So Emily is one of the top agents on our team, and she also just recently personally bought a home with her husband, Ryan. And so first of all, Emily, congrats on that.
Thank you. We are very excited. An honorable mention to our dog, Griffin, which is a large reason for buying the home for sure. He needs a backyard.
Sweet. You had to buy a whole new home so that Griffin would have a backyard. Yes.
Exactly.
So first of all, Emily, how did you find this home? How did you find a home? What was the buying process like?
So we started looking because obviously I look at homes all day, every day. And so we had ourselves up on a search. We weren't really finding what exactly we were looking for, where we wanted to be. And the sellers of this house actually reached out to our team because they wanted to sell with us. So it was off market. It was awesome. They had a longer timeline. We had a very flexible timeline. So it ended up being great. But we were able to kind of snatch that up before it even hit the market. It never ended up going. So we are very excited about that piece of it.
And who suggested it to you that it would be a good house for you and Ryan?
You, Justin.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thanks. Appreciate that.
I remember I texted Ryan. I was like, yeah, I was just with Justin, and he said that he knows of a house that might be good for us, a bit of a fixer-upper, and before, no address, no nothing, he just said, awesome, let's buy it. I was like, okay.
So it's a bit...
But that's exactly what we did.
It's a bit of a fixer-upper, and so tell us about that. I mean, were you okay buying a fixer-upper? Did you want to? Did Ryan want to? What about buying a fixer-upper?
So Ryan loved the idea of a fixer-upper because he was like, this is so exciting. We can put our own mark on it. You know, we can make all the decisions for what fixtures we want and all that. And I was hearing all that being like, I'm exhausted just talking about it because that is so stressful. And yes, here we are now. We're doing it and it's fun. I mean, I really like it. I go to Instagram because I'm lazy and I'm like, which tile should I choose? And let the people tell me. And usually there's a majority. So that kind of makes things easier. But it's a fun road, but it's lots of decisions to be made for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the con side, anyone who's done this, it's the effort. I mean, that is the con of doing this. I mean, there is an effort involved. No matter how good your contractor is or if you have other help with it, I mean, there is effort to do it. But what about on the pro side? I mean, especially for y'all's long-term plans with this house, there's some big pros of buying a fixer-upper versus buying something that's already finished.
For sure. So one of the reasons why we were open to the fixer-upper idea, I mean, numbers, they'll beat out any argument about decorating or anything. So just looking at the numbers, you know, we were able to buy a house that was in the price range that we were looking for, which was great. And we're able to put money into it, building equity in that. But then also our goal is to rent it out. Like we wanted to buy a first home, use it as an investment property when we're done with it in maybe 5 to 7 to 10 years. And after these renovations, I was already running the rental comps and we'd be able to rent it out for almost double what our mortgage will be, which is a great place to be, especially in an area that's going to just continue appreciating, fingers crossed. Yep. So that, you know, it made a lot of sense for us because to be able, you know, month to month to pay what we wanted to pay and what we could afford and what was comfortable for us was so important, other than, you know, stretching the budget, getting something that was really nice, but like either we'd get less money out of when we sell it in a shorter time, or, you know, we couldn't rent it out for it to where the numbers would make sense. So all in all, worked out great.
Yeah. So because y'all bought this house and then with a regular mortgage, and then you're doing the renovations with cash. So keeping that mortgage payment low. And then when you're done with it, the market value of the house done relative to what you have in it, you're going to have that instant equity for, which is what you gain for the work. I mean, the work that you're doing, the effort to do it. But from a financial standpoint, hey, low mortgage and equity immediately, that is from a number standpoint, a huge advantage to doing it.
Right. And when we were looking at our cash that we had to spend, it could go towards the down payment. We didn't put down 20% because we were like, well, we could do that and have a lower payment, but we'd rather just kind of do a little bit less. The PMI was like maybe $50, or maybe not even that. It was just some number where you're like, well, shoot, if I could have a brand new kitchen, deck, upstairs and everything for only 50 more, like, sign me up. So we ended up, you know, just for anyone who's considering it, when you are looking at your cash, we kind of we're looking at all the different ways it could go and how that could benefit us in multiple ways, from, you know, being able to just move in and live in the home you want, to also like a mortgage you can afford, but then also the rental numbers. So there are kind of a lot of moving pieces there that we really had to sit down and consider.
So you put less than 20% down, which if anyone who's watching and doesn't realize this, I mean, there is a misconception that you have to put 20% down to buy a house. That is not true. You can get great pricing on loans not putting 20% down. You can put 5%, even in some cases 3.5% down. So you can put less down there when you're going to do these renovations. And then you do the work with cash, the value of the house increases. You're still in a great loan to value position, just like had you done it before. So you decide to do that. Well, now you got to renovate the house. Step one, how did you figure out what you're going to do and who's going to do it?
So since we did find this lovely couple, like I think it took us about 9 months we found the home, and then it was 9 months, and then we closed. So we had lots of time to figure out what we wanted. We used like an online program to come up with different configurations and what we do. And Ryan was definitely trying to sell me on the renovation idea. So he was like, look, I did just take a look. It could look cool. I was like, okay. So, you know, we kind of like the home, which is important to us too, was we didn't have to do a ton to change the layout, right? Because when you're looking at renovations, it's like, well, are we knocking down walls? Do we have to get support beams? Are we doing this? If we're in the kitchen, are we changing where the gas is going to be, if it's a gas stove, or the water line for the fridge? So all of that we kept the same. So really we were just looking at putting hardwoods in upstairs, or fake hardwoods, you know, like redoing a bathroom upstairs. And then the kitchen was kind of the major reno. But other than that, it was like paint, sanding down the floors, and smaller projects like that. So we were looking at ideal world, what if we could do anything to this house, what would we do? And then we kind of like narrowed it down to like, okay, knowing we only have a certain amount of money, what can we accomplish with that money, and what's the most important to us?
Yeah. And on like, just for general renovation tips, the house that you bought, and this is one of the things I loved about it, it had the square footage already, and it had a good layout. Now the finishes were old. I mean, they hadn't been updated in a long time, but to your point, if the space is there and the layout is there, it's way easier to change out those things than it is to, if anyone's thinking about, hey, what can we do to a house? Well, with enough money and enough time, you can do anything to a house, but it is way harder to add square footage and move things around than it is to redo how things look. Even if you're like completely redoing, like tearing the whole kitchen out, to your point, to leave the water lines and the electric outlets and the plumbing lines all in the same spot is just way easier than, hey, we're moving all of this stuff all over the place. And so that is a nice thing for your house, is you had good square footage and a good layout to start with, which is awesome.
Yeah. And I think that was, you know, we wouldn't have done it if it wasn't so manageable.
Yep.
I say manageable. So, now I'm like thinking of all the stuff we're doing, and I'm like, what is
manageable? Is relative. Yeah, manageable is relative.
Exactly.
So you figure out, all right, this is what we want to do. Well, who's going to do it? How did you decide who was going to do the renovation for you guys?
So you open up kind of a door, can of worms, whatever you want to say, when you start asking people for the recommendations. And there's just so many options, you know. It's like so-and-so has their go-to person, and then so-and-so has their go-to person, and being on a team, everyone on the team has their go-to person. And so we kind of put out some feelers, talked to some people. Some of our good friends in Athens, they did a full, like, strip it down to the studs and rebuild the house. And we went to their house and we're like, oh, it looks so good. And, you know, getting to look at homes all day, it was like, you can tell when it's quality construction and when it's not. So before kind of even getting introduced to the contractor, we saw a house that he had built. Nice. And then one of my clients was finishing out their basement. And so we got them the house. It was an unfinished basement. And then he used the same contractor to do that. And so I got to meet him when he came along while we were under contract. He was like going through, and I was just really impressed with kind of how he approached it. It was in a very problem solving, on your feet way, that had like the buyers, you know, both cost and expectations and everything in mind. And so having seen the quality of the finished product, and then having experienced how he approached, you know, the pre-finished product and the work, we were kind of like, okay. And then he was worked with our friends. So that always, help
sure.
stand other people are advocating for this person. So we met with a few other contractors. We had 2 other ones come and look at the home because we didn't want to just limit ourselves, just because. And one of them, I reached out, we talked, and then he never showed up. And then the other one showed up, walked through, and never sent me a quote. So I was like, all right, this guy does all of the above, and he's great and responsive, and we already like him. So he blew the others out of the water pretty easily.
Yep. I mean, I think I love all of that. And I think that's good advice for anyone if you're doing a renovation. First, if you have a personal reference, I mean, that goes a long ways, right? Because someone has first real hand experience. Secondly, I do think you should always look at people's work. And even if you don't know someone who you can go see their house like you did, most contractors I've found and builders, they have people who will let them bring potential clients back and see their house. Don't be afraid to ask people that. Ask, hey, can I go see one of the houses you've done? Mm-hmm. Usually you can. And if you can't, that might be a little bit of a red flag if people don't want to show the work they've done. And then thirdly, I mean, talk to multiple people about it. So I love how you approach that. And so you bought the house, the work is started. Anyone who's following Emily on Instagram can follow along with this process day by day. But where are you in the process now?
So we got it. I took a bunch of before pictures. They started demo. They ripped out all the carpet upstairs. The bathroom upstairs, they completely ripped out. It looks silly. They took the toilet that was upstairs and it's just hanging out in the kitchen. So whenever I post pictures, people are like, wait, what am I looking at? Because there's a toilet, but I thought this was the kitchen. So it looks absolutely crazy right now. The kitchen, all the walls are open. We are doing a walk-in pantry, so you can kind of see the beams that outline that. No appliances are in there. Everything's off the walls. They installed some French doors because before you like walk in the side door and then stove appliances over here. And then over here was a bedroom. We knocked down this wall, so combined it. So now it's one big room. And then we put French doors that will lead to a deck. But for now, that's kind of the framing of the kitchen. Other than that, the other rooms look exactly the same. They're just full of dust and contractor materials. Yeah.
So you're in the phase now of picking everything out. How's that been?
So we thought we had everything picked out for the 9 months that we had looked, and we're like, yes, we'll put white tile here and this color floor. And we were feeling so good. And now they're like, okay, but what's the name of the tile? And we're like, oh my gosh. So you show up to Floor and Decor, you look at all the white floor options and you're like, there are 3 aisles of white tiles. This is insane. I told Brian, I was like, just show me 3 options and I will pick from those. I can't do all this. But we ended up, moms have been very involved and they were very helpful. And then we made friends with the Floor and Decor decorator. And so she helped us kind of finalize those because now we're buying the tile and they're actually installing it. And so you have to think of what tile, just in the bathroom. Let's say you have tile for the floor, the grout for the floor, what countertops you're going to have to match the tile on the floor, the tile for the door or for the shower floor, and then the tile for the shower wall, what grout you're going to use, if it will be different for the shower walls and the shower floor.
Yeah. So point is, there's more than 2 or 3 decisions to be made. There are lots of decisions to be made.
Yes.
And I mean, this is somewhere where I've just from experience and doing this personally, people either love it or they don't love it. And so, I mean, if this is something you're hearing Emily and you're like, oh, I would love to do that. That's definitely a pro of doing it. If you're like, this would be awful. I mean, your 2 options are either to tough it out or hire a designer and pay someone else to do it. I mean, that's because it's got to be done. I mean, there's just a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah.
So.
I'd rather have a new couch than a desiginer. I can tough it out for 6 weeks. So I'm if I'm looking at my budget, I'd rather go shopping than have them do that.
Cool. Well, Emily, thanks for sharing your experience today. And thanks for letting us come in and take a look at your house and take a look at this process. We're going to check back with you at least once, maybe twice in the future. We'll have a part 2 of this so that people can see the progress that you made and hear about the rest of the renovation project. If you guys stayed on budget, if you stayed on timeline, and we will give everyone an update on that in the future. But Emily, thanks for sharing with us today. This is great.
Of course. Happy to help.
Awesome. All right, everyone, we will see you again next week. If you have any specific questions about your own renovation or a project, we would be happy to help share our expertise, share our connections. Just drop us a private message like so many of you do, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Awesome.